The new map in Valorant seems to make a lot of noise because of how weird is it. Small sides, huge mid, 100 of corners, new closing doors and random ways all around the map. People say it might be the worst map. But what if actually you're wrong? To make you understand my points, we're gonna go for 3 parts. How to play defender side, attacker side, and what agents you should pick to maximize your chances to win. Grab something to eat, and we're diving into the new map. Let's start from the fact that this map is very defender-sided. First, look at these sides. They're so tiny, so obviously you'll have less struggle to defend it. Next, you have a bunch of angles to hold enemies from. In addition to that, you have a lot of sneaky rat corners, in which enemies are forced to peek you if they want to enter. As your sides are very easy to cover just by few abilities and even one good sentinel or initiator could do the job, your defense should also focus a lot on the mid. The mid is the most efficient way to have a map control. If you have the mid control, you basically can do whatever you want. Your goal now is to avoid enemies to entry from the mid, otherwise you just lost the control on half of the map. Let's look closer so you understand. If an enemy manages to take space on A-Link, that means they have access to the back of your teammates and they can just sweep the round into their advantage within the next seconds, and you will be forced to play retake. Same goes on B-Link. If they manage to enter from here, your teammates are going to be locked between both sides of B side, and now they're in huge disadvantage. So never let the mid go alone. This could cost you a round or maybe even many. Okay, so how to defend mid? Nothing too hard. Do you remember the mid on Corrode? Absolutely the same thing here. You have a top mid which is leading to B side and A-Link which is leading to A side. So one player for each place. You don't have to pick anyone unless you're taking information, but you must use your abilities in case you want to engage a fight against them. Otherwise they're just gonna crumble you. Now let's imagine. You lost one side and enemies had planted the spike already. How do you retake? You have different ways to do it, but each of them are very hard. First of all, B side. Let's pretend the door in tower is already closed. Don't worry, we're gonna talk about the doors a bit more in depth later. So now we have 4 options. Gym, drop, B-Link and B-Main. Let's start from the fact that you must play from 2 different sides to retake. Going all from one spot won't help you at all because there are way too many corners that you must check alone. So play together, otherwise you just won't do anything. You have a silent drop, so you are almost unpredictable, so please play around this advantage you have of being unknown yet. Gym is probably where all of us are going to play from. It isn't bad, but you must check left and right so people in B-Link can help you. If you are from B-Link, then you have to watch in front of you and try together to retake the site, but you must consider that B-Main is the main place where enemies are going to play boss plans from. And if you're brave enough to go from B-Main, your only job is obviously getting a good timing to take control of enemies back, and by this lock them into the side where they can't run. Now about A side. There are 2 possible ways of how enemies will be playing. First one is them playing on site and garden. In that case you just clear them off the site and defuse when your teammates are covering you. The other way is if enemies control the whole space around the site. In this case the door is probably gonna get closed anyway, and they will be playing from Pebble, waiting for you to peek on Cave, or main and garden waiting for you to peek from A-Link. The one in main will be probably waiting for playing boss plant abilities, such as lineups, ults and so on. So in order to retake A site, people from A-Link and people from Cave will need to play together to clear each other's off angles. Obviously people from A-Link will need to get access to garden, and people from Cave will need to get access to the site. Okay, but what's about A main? In that case, same thing, you need to lurk here. In my opinion, the lurk on A main is much easier than on B main, because on A main there's not so much off angles for attackers, so you can easily entry and easily lurk, as you see on the clip. So to sum up, sites are easy to defend because you have the advantage. You must always focus on the mid, and in retake rounds, play all together because it's nearly impossible to retake alone. Phew, that was a lot to say. Before we continue, if you find the video useful till now, don't mind to leave a like, subscribe and also leave a comment. We're trying to reach 1000 subscribers until 2027, so every action is a great contribution to the growth. Thank you in advance. Now we have a big question. How the hell are you supposed to play as attacker side? Well, if you listen carefully, you understood that the mid is your best friend. You can access to mid, then you have access to anywhere you want. That doesn't mean the whole team should go mid though, absolutely not. The correct way to play would be 3 players on main and 2 or 1 playing on mid as lurkers. People on main must distract enemies by making their waste neutral on them, and people on mid must take control over the map so they get a full advantage over the defenders. Now let's talk about some tips and tricks to take control of the map easier. Yes, we're going to finally talk about doors. There are 3 of them on the map. You should debut in closes, blah blah blah, we already know all of that. But should you even close them? There are 2 options. The first is you have way too many angles to pick, so obviously you close each door you see to limit as much as you can defenders access to the site. However, second option, If you get access to a site or meet up very quickly, you can let the doors open and get the enemies by surprise on their part of the map. If you're very confident about your ability to get some kills and run away, you can also try to even pass through, close the door, and enemies won't expect you there at all. But you have less chances to survive in case you wave. Also, little trick. I think you noticed there are little holes everywhere in walls so you can throw your flashes and so on from them. And they are on every big door, by the way, so don't mind using them because they're not here for nothing. Next is the most important part. Where do you plant the spike? On B side you can plant right in the middle. If you clear the site so everyone has access to defend the spike, and obviously it's not the easiest option. Another case is the hut. I really don't like this plant because unless you have mollies or ults to defend it, this is absolutely impossible to defend if you're playing for main, or you have to expose yourself to many angles if you want to defend the spike. So my choice will be right in the middle at all costs. For the A side, there is only one right option for me. It's right here, because everyone can defend it properly and you can play around the big wall in clutch situations. Moreover, if you plant anywhere else, enemies will have more advantage because it means you must stay on site or quickly run to kill them. Obviously they're not going to pick you. If you have an easy access to the spike, they're just gonna smoke or wall or anything and then defuse chill in the corner while you are panicking. My favorite site to enter will be probably B, because at least he doesn't look like he's bullied by the rest of the map, you know? So to sum up, for the attacker side, you must fight for the mid, otherwise your entries will be very hard and costly in abilities and players. So that means you must lurk a lot and get huge timings. You must also take a lot of space around the map to control it. You must close the door in most of the cases to reduce defenders' angles to pick you. And finally, plant on places where everyone can defend the spike. And this advice is absolutely for every map, by the way. Well, I hope it wasn't too much information. So now let's chill a bit and let's see which agents you must pick for this map and why. Before judging my choices, you must understand I selected them for regular players, because obviously if you main a character perfectly, he or she is gonna work well on every map. But we imagine what agents are the strongest globally and are the best choices to play with team, and not just lonely playstyle. We're gonna go through it quickly. For smokers, the best picks will be Astra, Omen, Harbor. Astra because she can smoke from anywhere and she's made for big maps like Summit. Even her ult is very useful because she can literally split the map in two. Omen is also really good for long range smokes, and he can easily TP wherever he wants due to the verticality of the map. Also, his flash is extremely useful to clear space with a teammate. And Harbor because his smokes and walls can isolate a part of the map quickly and allow you to enter a site easily. His ult is also a really nice pushback ability, which allows you to take more space easier. Now about initiators. Sova, Fate and Teho. Sova and Fate because their reveals are primordial on this map, and their ult are both useful, rather for post plant or retake. Teho is quite fun to play if you combo him with Duelist, because he can lock enemies into a space and if played well, they have no chance to flee. For Sentinels we have KJ, Vice and Cypher. KJ because her ult cover most of the site if placed correctly, and it's really hard to break. Also mollies and bots and so on are very useful to have control over the map in defense. Cypher because he has a lot of great traps around the map to defend from lurkers, and himself is the best agent to lurk to take space, as we already saw. And Vice is pretty much the same stuff as KJ. A lot of corners, so her abilities are hard to avoid, and the ult is covering a great part of the site. And finally about Duelist. For me it's Raze, Phoenix, Neon and Jet. Raze because this agent can break anything with her abilities, such as Grenade or ult. She can take information with her boombot, and she can even use her nade in boss plants through the doors as well as taking unexpected spots in early rounds. Phoenix because of the wall and the molly, because both of them are going to do the same job as Harbor, also the flashes which are quite hard to dodge. Neon obviously because of the wall and her capacity to easily enter a site while splitting this wall into two parts. And Jet because same as Raze, she can take unexpected places in early rounds but also cover herself with a smoke or her teammates while the rest of the team is trying to enter. And that's pretty much it. Before you go, if you want a whole guide about how to play every agent on Summit or any other maps, let's reach at least like 25 likes on this one and I'll try to do it quickly. If you have any requests about this map, feel free to ask in comments, I always answer, and see you next. Ciao!